Hello and welcome to KPFK's debate series for the 2021 Local Board Delegate Elections, where you will hear from various listener candidates. My name is Jose Benavides, and I will be your moderator. The topics to be discussed cover key topics facing KPFK and Pacifica Foundation as a whole, and questions submitted directly by KPFK members. Please note that all viewpoints presented are those of the participants and do not reflect the position of the Pacifica Foundation or KPFK. The program starts with opening statements, followed by a debate covering topics from a selected predefined topic list, and ending with questions from listener members. The order of candidates and topics have been selected by using a random sequence generator from random.org. This hour, we are joined by Deidra Bynum, Fernando Fernando, Grace Aaron, and Nikki Haun. Before starting the debate, each candidate has 1 minute to make an opening statement. Candidates will hear a bell when they have 10 seconds left, and 2 when their time is up. And now for the candidates' opening statements.
Hello, so I am Deidra Bynum, and the reason that I am running for a seat on the board is because I have been a contributing member to KPFK for the last year and a half. And I've also been a listener for about close to 6 years. And I did not get interested in everything that was happening with KPFK until I started to notice myself that there were a lot of differences that were happening that were changing the way that information was being relayed, as well as the amount of BIPOC individuals who had segments on the programming. And once I noticed that, I got very interested in what was happening and why the changes were occurring. And in the last 6 to 7 months of myself listening.
Fernando, your opening statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fernando Fernando, a long-time community activist here in Los Angeles. I live here for 50 years. And I'm interested in helping KPFK to pursue what's happening within our listener and so forth. And so if I can contribute in any way, I'm willing to listen to everyone, everyone's idea, and so we can work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. Grace Aaron, you have 1 minute.
Okay, my name is Grace Aaron. I've been involved with Pacifica and KPFK for a very long time. I've been on the board on and off since 2002. I was on the national board in 2008 and 2009. I was the chair of the national board in 2009 and the interim executive director that year. I was also on the national board from 2015 to 2020. I was the secretary of the national board in 2020 and the chair for part of 2019. So I've been around a long time. I was the interim executive director, I think I said that already, in 2009 for 10 months. So I've been to every single station. I have friends at all the stations. I understand the differences and the similarities between the stations. I want to be a mentor to new board members who come on because I'm basically kind of a Pacifica and KPFK Wikipedia. I know a lot about the history. It's a complex organization. I know where the...
Thank you, Grace. Nikki Haun, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Nicole Haun. I go by Nikki, and I decided to run because I love KPFK, and I'm a listener, I'm a member, and I wanted to get involved, and I got a really, I just got encouraged to do it, that, you just need to love KPFK, be willing to learn. And I'm a public policy student. I also have done journalism, and I was on an editorial board. I love working together with people, and I love also like community activism, community involvement. So I'm just happy to be here and happy to participate and see how this all works and to learn from everybody else and to give a little bit back to KPFK, who who I get so much from as a whole, not from any single person, but from all of the different programs. So yeah, I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
We now move on to the debate. The debate format consists of assigning one topic to one candidate, as determined by the initial random sequence, and allowing the candidate 2 minutes to develop their answer. All other candidates, following the order defined by the initial random sequence, get 30 seconds each to comment or ask a follow-up question. The initial candidate then has 2 more minutes to make additional comments or respond to the other candidates' questions. This structure iterates through all candidates until all have had the opportunity to address a topic in depth. Deidra, the first topic is to you. Please define listener democracy. What is your view on listener democracy? Do you feel listener democracy is working well or poorly at KPFK and Pacifica? Suggest ways that we can improve the listener democracy.
With regard to listener democracy, to the extent that I understand that subject to be, I would say that KPFK was better back in the day. They could do better now with listener democracy. Listener democracy has a lot to do with not only the availability of the listener to be a participant, a person who is listened to regarding what is going on with KPFK, but they are also an individual who gets to or should get to make judgments and choices on what is going to be aired on the station as well. And to the extent that I understand it, and again, I am a newcomer, but from what I have understood so far, when listener democracy is ignored, it does lessen the amount of individuals who are going to be involved with the station and involved with being listeners and viewers and writers for this entire station and what they do. Because if we are not listening to the voices of the individuals who are listening to the station, then we're going to have fewer viewers. And I say we because I already feel a part of the KPFK community at this point. When we do not have listener democracy, it will cause less viewers. It will cause fewer individuals to be a part. And we need those viewers, we need those listeners to not only be a part of and also donate to, but to have voices as to what should be getting heard and seen and etc. So what we should do is listen to them more. 50-50, we were listening to them to some extent, and now we're at a lesser point. So we need to improve the listener democracy, of course, if we're going to get anywhere further in the future.
Thank you, Deidra. Thank you. Fernando, the same question for you. You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, this listener democracy, it's a welcoming thought to everyone, but too much democracy can also, derail the procedure, many of this procedure. And so, I'm for democracy, but in a limitation, in a limited way, because simply democracy can be is that it? So democracy can be overturned in some way, and so democracy must be used in a proper procedure and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. Grace Aaron, you have 30 seconds.
Yes, I really strongly believe in listener democracy for Pacifica. It's worked for 70 years. I mean, democracy is messy, There's nothing more efficient than totalitarian dictatorship. And Hitler was more efficient than Joe Biden will ever be, or even Donald Trump. But listener democracy is vital, and senators the longevity of Pacifica. The fact that it's lasted this long is mainly because our boards, pesky though they may be, have made sure that corporate invested interests and big money interests have not taken over Pacifica. That's the main accomplishment over these many years of the boards and of democracy in Pacifica,
Thank you, Grace.
in my opinion.
Thank you, Grace. Nikki, you have 30 seconds.
I do believe in the democratic process. I love seeing how it works. I think it is vital to KPFK, Pacifica. I don't know why we would change things now. I'm sure I think that's what brought me to KPFK. I think that's why a lot of people choose to listen to KPFK. And I think we should try and fight to keep it this way. But also we should listen to all of the voices. If some people, we need to find a middle ground, but without losing the integrity of KPFK's independence.
Thanks, Nikki. So now we're moving on to the next topic. Grace, this is your topic. What is your understanding of how programming decisions, removal of programs, addition of new programs, schedule modifications, and more are currently made at KPFK? And what do you think is the most important criteria to take into account when evaluating programs? How should listeners, members be involved in programming evaluation?
I'm allergic to horror movies, and so I would rather not describe what I think is the process currently of putting programs on the air and taking them off. So I'll move on from that. There's very, very good policy created by the National Programming Committee and adopted without objection by the Pacifica National Board in 2017. Unfortunately, I don't think there's ever there's been any evidence of that policy for program evaluation being implemented. We should dig that out. It's excellent policy on how to evaluate programming, individual programs, but also how they're placed on the grid. So that's for the future. The local board can set programming policy. That's one of the powers that the local board has. That's very important. The local board also evaluates the program director and can ask that the program director be removed if the program director is not following his or her job description. But one part of this important element is that programming policy from 2017, which gives a detailed method of evaluating programming and evaluating the grid. I also strongly believe in market research. We are flying blind if we don't have market research. Market research is very inexpensive. We need to know what is really needed and wanted and would inspire listeners across our signal area. We need to reach them. We need to give them what they need. We need to have more local news. We've gotten a lot of feedback from our members and listeners that they want local news. That's very important, and other topics of interest.
Thank you, Grace. Deidra, same question.
I would agree with Grace. Local news is very important. As far as implementing new segments or changing what's going on with KPFK, it's very important to listen to the community, because the community is the reason why KPFK is on the air. So if we don't have an audience, we don't have a station. So listening to them is going to be very important to understand what needs to be aired and what the community wants. And local news obviously is going to be very helpful in that as well. So that is something that we should focus on, definitely.
Thank you. Fernando?
I do agree with some of what Grace has said also, but I might add that we need to gear our programming towards the community itself. It's like if we know the pulse of the community, meaning that if we know what's happening in our community, then it's a lot easier to invite listener to whatever they can help as well in terms of donation and support. So when we have this interconnected problem, then it can also solve the problem itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. Nikki, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, so I do think it's important for us all to work together and to listen to the pulse of what's happening in the city, what's happening locally. Honestly, we've come so far. I kind of forgot the first question, that how we got here. But I think we should, it's about the programming. I'm sorry. I'm fighting a little cold too. So, but I think working together, the board working together, listening to what's going on in the community, I think I agree with Grace that there should be a system in place. You kind of need some framework to have it so that every program is evaluated the same. But I think the board should work together and be active in the community to know what's going on and what people want to hear about.
Thank you, Nikki. So now we're moving on to the next question. Fernando, this is your topic. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the existing models of fundraising at KPFK and Pacifica? Please propose alternative fundraising ideas and models. Think about the strategy and timeline for the implementation of your alternatives.
As I told you that if you know the pulse of the community, then it should not be hard to do fundraising. If the community is satisfied of what's the program of the KPFK, then it's also benefit us in a way that meaning that these are interconnected issues. It's like any other business. If the customer are satisfied for the service, then they keep coming back. The same thing with the KPFK. And as a businessman, I also applying that to KPFK if I become a board. And so I'm doing that. Well, I'm trying to interconnect many of these issues that the community has had. Thank you.
Thank you. Grace, you have 30 seconds.
Okay. Fundraising, the famous fundraising guru, Kim Klein, who wrote Fundraising for Progressive Change, said that, if you're getting 40% of your funding from one particular group or some certain members, then it would make sense to spend 40% of your time working on them to do more fundraising, etc. 30% spend 30%.
Nikki, same question.
I think having a presence in the community would be important. Maybe KPFK could be involved in some local community things like farmers markets, or just getting places to allow us to have a booth there, or just be present with volunteers, get the word out, let people know that KPFK is still around, talk to people, and just try some new methods to get people involved and see our presence in the city.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to be, Deidra, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. I was just going to quickly agree with Nicole. Yes, our presence is very important if we want to gain listeners. And for fundraising, if we want it to be larger, if we want it to be stronger, you have to know who to cater to. And since the viewers, a part of the community, are the individuals who we need to cater to, we would need to be out there. We can do farmers markets, as Nikki had mentioned. We can do booths at different events, such as I'm going to advocate for at the next U.S. embargo committee that I'm going to, and we have a booth there. So I'm going to also advocate for KPFK. So we need to be out in the streets amongst the individuals so that we can actually get that viewership and make sure that we understand what
so much.
And who to cater to.
Your time is up. I'm sorry. Nikki, this is your topic. What are the strengths and weaknesses of KPFK's programming? Should the LSB members be involved in determining programming?
Well, I love the programming right now. That's why I listen. That's what brought me here. I do think the local station board should be involved in listening, but and they should definitely be a part of what's being played. But I think it's important again to listen to the community, the feedback. As Grace said before, you know, evaluating the programs, that's important. But I think it's important to talk to all of the staff too at KPFK, you know, the unpaid staff, get everybody involved and kind of see what's working and what everyone thinks, because we're definitely stronger as a whole and listening to what people want. But I currently love the programming, so I don't really have anything negative to say about how it is now, but change always has to happen at some point, you know, small changes. So it's important to involve with the times and just be on the pulse of what's going on in the community, and maybe get some more local programming, if anything, something based on what's going on in the wider Los Angeles region or SoCal. I think that's one thing we could add is more local programming. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Deidra, you have 30 seconds. Same question.
Okay. In response to that, I would say that the LSB members are a part of the community. We are the community. We're the individuals who are running from the community to be a part of the board for Pacifica, for KPFK. We are members of the community. So absolutely, we should be involved in the programming, because we are a part of the community that wants to hear information that they are yearning for, that they are asking for, but we also have a direct connection to the community so that we can advocate for those things and those people as well.
Time. Fernando, you have 30 seconds.
Yes, as I said earlier, programming is very important, but we need to really have the program to really interconnect to the issue itself. Because if we keep losing audience or listener, then we need to re-study that and so forth. And so, but I think if we are interconnected with the community itself, then it's a lot easier to raise fund or whatever we need to do.
Thank you. Grace, you have 30 seconds.
I am so encouraged by the support for community radio by all of you, Deidra, Nikki, and Fernando. It's heartening. That's what we need to do. We need to ask people what they want to hear, not just assume what they want to hear. We need programming that fits the needs and desires and aspirations of the various communities in our signal area. So important.
Thank you. We now select questions from the list submitted by listener members, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. We will take as many questions as time allows. Let's see. The first question would be, in your opinion, what is the most important role or responsibility that the local station board has? And how should the roles and responsibilities be modified or improved for the function of the LSB board? Let's go with Deidra.
That's a really good question. And I don't know if I have an absolute answer for that, because there's a lot that could be done. Because as a listener, I have listened to the fund driving for over a year at this point. And sometimes it is engaging and sometimes it is not. And I still contribute because I value what I'm getting out of KPFK, but I'm not always engaged with the way that they are attempting to reach the listener. So what we should do is diversify how we are attempting to get to more viewers. That includes social media, that includes community outreach, that includes being out on the streets, actually meeting with people, things of that nature that would actually give us an idea of how can we engage you so that the fundraisers would be more profitable and a lot stronger. For myself, that would definitely have helped in some of the times that I have listened to the fundraising and it wasn't necessarily engaging for me.
Time. Fernando, same question.
Yes, I look at this as to shorten the fund drive. You know, it's like a business. If people are not coming in, there's something wrong with your program. And so if you turn that around and you feel the pulse of the community, then people will come in. You know, it's not that really hard to figure these things out. You know, but if we have a good programming and you know that really involved the community is supporting the program itself, then it comes with it. You know, it's come to the territory that people will be engaged. You know, they will be concerned about the program and they will support it. And so there's no really clear answer to shorten it, but it will depend on particularly the board that should figure these things out.
Thank you. Grace, you have 1 minute.
Okay, I'll repeat. I completely agree with Fernando and also with Deidra. Better programming will mean more listeners, which will mean more income per fund drive day, which will mean we can shorten our fund drives. It's as simple as that. We need more, better, higher quality programming that really speaks to the needs of the people in our signal area, to various communities. And we need local stuff because I can get national and international news, even of a very progressive nature, easily on the internet in a second. I don't need that so much. I need to know what's happening locally, and I need to have some of the issues in my life addressed. So that's what we need. We need more compelling programming, which will bring more listeners and will bring more funding. That's the bottom line. I agree with Fernando.
Time, thank you. Nikki, same question for you. You have 1 minute.
Well, I think everyone else has answered it so well. And I agree with what everyone has said. Obviously, if the funds are being made in time, then the duration of the fundraising is shortened. I think it's great when people donate a large amount and then it's like, you know, they'll double it. If people donate money now, then, you know, the big donator will double it or match it. Things like that are great, but I definitely agree with Grace. Like local news will get more people listening. We'll get the people that are being talked about or things that are directly impacting them, then they'll listen in. We can get new donators. So I don't know about shortening the length of it because I think the longer it runs, I mean, isn't that potential to just make more money? Hopefully get more donations coming in. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to move into the next question, which is, do you have any ideas on how Pacifica can generate new listeners and market to younger audiences? We're going to start with Deidra again. Go ahead, you have 1 minute.
This is one thing that I would go back to, it being important that LSB members are involved with the what the programming is as far as KPFK airwaves, because if you want to know how to market to an individual, you have to understand that group of individuals. You want to market to Gen X, you want to market to millennials, you want to market to Gen Z. Someone needs to be a part of those generations so that they are of the same timeline, of the same speaking pattern, the same slang, the same this, the same that, the same background, the same growing up issues, and etc., so that you can identify. So we need to have a diversified LSB so that we can market to them. And marketing to younger people is going to, at this point, since we've seen for over the past year, we need to be involved. We need feet on the ground. There needs to be people who are talking to individuals and getting their input, because that's very strong with the youth today.
Thank you. Fernando, you have 1 minute.
Yep. Pacifica has a objective, and if we want to really involve the community, then we must listen to the community itself. It's like if you have a restaurant, then you try to test the water if the customer like your cooking and so forth. And if they don't, then you have to improve your cooking. And this is the same thing with the programming. If the programming is good, then it's a lot easier for the audience or the listener to participate in. And so these are very important point that we need to come to terms with, and so and on the board itself, if I get elected, then we must work together to resolve many of these issues rather than disagreeing with no ending discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Grace, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, I agree. We should open up the airwaves and give people, younger or whatever, new people from all kinds of various communities a chance to showcase a few shows, see how they do, and reach out to those communities and put them on the air as guests, but also as hosts. This is really vitally needed, and there are topics that are even universal. I don't know anybody who hasn't had some trauma in their lives from drug abuse. My own brother died from being a heroin addict, so I know it close hand, and he's not the only person in my life. I mean, what about all the youth out there who want to find out, what do I do if I have a DUI? What about how to get my kids to a better education? What about what do you do if you don't have proper insurance and you were just diagnosed with cancer? There's so many topics of vital concern to people out there, and we need to address those issues.
Thank you, Grace. Next question. What would be your involvement in terms of social and political issues of Leimert Park in terms of gentrification? Deidra, you have 1 minute.
The social struggle, it's huge, and it's among all communities. But speaking specifically to gentrification, I've experienced gentrification in an area where I grew up. And after decades of that area being pretty much Black owned, now it is not. So in regards to that, it's something that definitely should be given attention. It's something that other individuals should know about, because it's not just happening in Black communities, it's happening in a multitude of communities, all of the BIPOC communities. From one area of the country to the other. And it is an issue with creating generational wealth and creating security and et cetera for those communities when we are disrupted in that sense. So that is something that I would strive to put more knowledge out there about.
Right.
Not everyone who's engaging in gentrification is okay with it or even aware of it. But if we make people aware of it, maybe we can do something about it.
Time. Fernando.
Yeah, gentrification is really affecting not just in Leimert Park, but it's all over. There's nothing new about these things. That's why we need to also study the neoliberalization policies. These policies is designed to make everyone poor, and so we blame each other to minute disagreement and so forth. And so it's designed to divide the people itself. And so we must understand the first the neoliberalization policies, which is the anti-imperialist policies that that's being implemented not just in local community, but it's international. And so these are designed to divide us. And so we need to talk more about these issues, because these are giant issues that we need to come to terms with.
Grace.
Yeah, the radio can be used regarding the Leimert Park issue and explaining to people in Leimert Park and other communities how to organize, how to set up neighborhood councils that have impact on the city council, to get rules and regulations to slow gentrification. There's also might be a possibility through a neighborhood council to use zoning to make it difficult for gentrification. So there are all kinds of things. We can be, the Pacifica should be an education in community organizing, as well as other things that we can do to help various communities to live better lives. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, to kind of go off of what everyone else has said, I think it is important for KPFK to be involved and to have maybe give some tools to the community for certain issues like this. We could even, if there are some volunteers or people on the board that are willing to help do things like making a web page that has resources for people to get involved in their community, to help people organize and kind of keep their community strong. I think it would be great to have resources on their own webpage that could be found through KPFK, something like that, where they can talk and discuss and meet up that way. That's something that a web page could be really influential and helpful with. But yeah, I think we should be providing tools for the community. Yes, thank you.
That does it for our debate questions. Each candidate has 1 minute to make a closing statement. Deidra.
Okay, thank you. So I will just state that I personally am a progressive. And like the newest members to Congress, I am fresh. I am not yet jaded. I still have a trajectory that I am on to benefit my community and all of the communities that are being subjugated or disenfranchised. Everyone who is in need, that is who I am working for. And to make a difference, we can definitely supply the tools to the community to improve our situations. And as an activist and a progressive, this is what I am about all day. So my running for the board is to help all of us, not some of us, not just me. It's for all of us. I am running on behalf of the people who can't run. I am running on behalf of the people who won't run. I am running on the behalf of the people who aren't running because they don't know that they need to. So I am doing what I can to better everything for whoever needs it.
Time. Okay, looks like that's now we're going to go to Grace. Grace, you have 1 minute.
Okay, my name is Grace Aaron, and with a group of other people, I put out email blasts to the whole entire Pacifica membership to encourage members to come forward to become candidates in this local station board election. And I hope that those who are not elected will stay engaged, help as volunteers, help fundraise, help around the station, help the board, be on committees. I am willing to work with anyone on whatever platform. People I disagree with, I'll work with them. And I will help new board members to get acclimated to Pacifica and to KPFK. I have over 10 years of local board experience and 7 years of national board experience. So I know my way around Pacifica, and I want to pass that on to the next generation of board members. So we have a long-lasting, strong Pacifica that goes on for 100 or 200 more years. Thank you.
Nikki, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. So again, I'm Nicole Haun. I think I'm listed as Nikki Haun. I hope to be one of these new generation of members, of the board members, as Grace was talking about. I love helping problem solve. I love fundraising. I love being a part of the community and being a voice for people. As Deidra was saying, I'm just so honored to be a part of this. I love seeing this whole process working, and being encouraged to do this, even though this is my first time. And I just started as a listener and as a member, and now running for this. I just think it's a great process. KPFK made it, encouraged me to do this even without prior experience. And I'm so willing to learn and help fundraise and contribute to KPFK. Thank you.
Go ahead, Fernando, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, we are in a critical juncture of KPFK, and so each of us is very important to be part of the KPFK board. And so if I get elected, then we must also work together, together in a sense that to really improve the KPFK's ongoing operation. And so we need to do all this, and hopefully getting a new audience or listener to nurture KPFK, because as I said earlier, if the customer is not coming back, that means something wrong with on this case, the programming and so forth. So we need to listen to the customer itself. It's like any other business, or I look at this as another business and so forth.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to KPFK's Local Station Board Delegate Election Series 2021. My name is Jose Benavides. For more information, visit elections.pacifica.org. For all questions and to file a ballot request form, make sure to cast your ballot before 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, October 15th, 2021. Thank you.